I don't give a shit why you think habits are important. What are your habits?
Working out is a must. It's the only thing that keeps me sane.
Why?
It is quite literally the only thing that I can do to decompress. It's the only thing. Right? At the end of the day, you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders every waking second of every waking day. Then all of a sudden, when you go in the gym, it's just you, your thoughts, and it's quite literally the only thing that I can do to decompress.
Decompress from what?
The absolute shit show that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. From client meetings, to scheduling calendar, to follow-up, to fucking taking notes, to wondering where my next fucking paycheck's gonna come from. Literally start to finish.
Tell me about the last time you remember going to the gym to decompress. I know that you go to the gym every
Dude,
single morning.
I have a picture of this.
Okay.
I don't know the exact day. I just remember the time of day. It was like 8:45 at night. It was a Friday. I was beyond pissed off. I don't know what from. And I took a picture specifically of me sweating like no other. And the reason I took a picture of it is because, like, looking back on this journey, it's going to be one of those moments where it's like, no, that's the kind of shit we were doing. That's the kind of stuff we were doing to decompress and like getting after it at all times, right? But in that moment specifically, it was a mix of not knowing where our business was going. It was a mix of not knowing what sense of direction we had. Like, this, dude, this is probably, it's probably around the January time when we decided to launch X Factor, you know? Not knowing what was going to come next from business, not knowing where our next paycheck was going to come from, not knowing what the result of pushing all of our chips in the middle of the table was going to do. And quite literally, working out was the only thing that, at the moment, that's the only thing that I knew to latch onto. It's the only thing that I actually had that was going to create some type of consistency in my life.
And let's clarify, I'm probably the reason why you went and worked out at 8:45 at night because you were pissed off. You were probably pissed at me. If we had to take a guess.
Probably.
But that's where we end up growing the most. When we get pissed at each other, these fights that we have.
Oh, God. Like a married couple, but worse.
Like, seriously, though, every single time that you and I have battled, and we've certainly battled, we've come out and almost, like, shedded a layer off the onion.
That's right. That's right.
Or, like, just escape the cocoon.
All right, fine. Question for you.
Okay.
As you're going through these growing pains or whatever it may be, just in business in general, whether you're with your partner, whether you're by yourself, no matter what it is, what did you have to do? Like, what did you have to experience, or what did you have to do to be cognizant or, like, recognize, like, this is a part of it, instead of looking at it from this perception of, or perspective of, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, where did you learn that? Where was this mindset shift, where your perspective changed and how you perceive our battles or our growing pains, as we like to call them, right? Like, when and where did it change? I'm going to break that down into phases for you.
Okay.
I want pre-X Factor, and then I want in the middle of creating X Factor, and then today.
I got through the struggle pre-X Factor because I knew with every fiber of my being that you and I were going to create something. Had absolutely no clue what it was. I think we knew it was going to be X Factor, but it was X Factor Capital, it was X Factor period. What it's turned into today, if you asked me a year ago if I thought that it was going to turn into what it is today, I wouldn't probably would have called bullshit.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
And then, I mean, when we're in the middle of it, there was no turning back. It was, failure was not an option. I mean, that's something that I grew up on. Quitting, or I shouldn't say, what I should say is quitting was never an option for me growing up.
Yep.
I tried to quit baseball, football, and basketball, I think, every single year. I finally succeeded. I finally succeeded quitting basketball after freshman year.
Height
definitely played a factor. And the crazy thing is CM had very good basketball. They had an A team and a B team for freshmen. I had ended up scrapping my way onto the A team because I went after our best player, took charges against him, like just scrappy basketball player.
Yeah.
Finally convinced my mother. I was like, Mother, this is not going to be good for me. I got to focus on baseball. That ended up working out because I ended up making varsity as a freshman for baseball. but it ended up hindering my growth because basketball was what gave me the lungs and what actually forced me to run, because I was a quarterback in football and I was an outfielder in baseball. You don't do a ton of running in baseball. And then football, quarterback. I was quarterback for a reason. Where I was going with that is, apart from that moment, and I regret that's one of the biggest regrets that I have, and I try not to live in regret. I try to look at the lessons learned there.
Yeah.
Quitting basketball was one of the biggest mistakes that I had ever made before.
Why?
Because it wasn't about the sport of basketball. It was about the endurance that helped me for other things. I think athletes should be
multi-sport
athletes should be multi-sport athletes, because you learn different things from different sports, whether it's physical or mental things.
Okay. I'm going to add on to that question then.
Okay.
All right, so this concept of being a multi-sport athlete, why is that relevant is number one, right? Obviously getting endurance and these things, but why is it relevant as a whole? And how is that same framework or concept applied to your business journey?
That's a great question.
Thank you very much.
Let's go from the business stand front, because that's where I'm a little sharper.
Okay.
The way that today's world is currently running is that people are trying to put everybody into a box. That's the problem that I have with corporate, is that they put you in a box and it's the rat race. You get paid a little bit more, you get a little bit more responsibility, work your way up, work your way up, work your way up, work your way up. Boom, the path is clearly there and you are just sticking to that path. That's it.
And let's clarify though, for some people, that's the right path for them.
For some people, it's definitely the right path. But for me, I hate boxes. Hate them.
Yeah.
When somebody tries to put me in a box, knowing that they're trying to put me in a box frustrates me. Right? So like, if 99 people go this way, I'm going to go this way just to go that way.
Just in spite. Okay.
I don't want to follow the tribe. I want to do something on my own.
Yep.
So when it comes to business, and the reason why I love the X Factor group is I'm not just focused on one industry or one specific path. It is multifaceted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm learning about insurance. I'm learning about financial advising. I'm learning about real estate. I'm learning about the trades. I'm learning about everything. You want to be skilled in all these different areas, because if I'm just focused on our one business, our original business, the financial advisory business, then I can only help my clients in one way. But if I'm well suited in other industries and I know people in other industries, then I can have the knowledge, the skill set, and if I ask the right questions, then I can actually provide value in some way, shape, or form during any interaction that I end up in.
Totally fair. Matter of fact, we were having that conversation today, and it was kind of in regard to like what the X Factor group has morphed into. When we had our financial advising backgrounds, we still do, and still obviously own the business. But I think that one of these things that's overlooked in business, to your point, is people get so fixated on there's one way to do things. There is the old way to do things. People are prospecting a certain way. People are building a pipeline a certain way. And one of the things that I'm curious to hear more about from your perspective is we did the exact opposite of all of that.
The exact opposite.
And why did it work? Why is it working? Like, what makes it so powerful that we're doing? In essence, we've always heard this in any industry: don't recreate the fucking wheel, right? And we did exactly that. We recreated something that never existed, essentially, right? Why does it work? What have you uncovered personally? Like, what's the one thing that is like? What's the one superpower you've uncovered about what we do? Why does it work?
I want to change your question on you and go back to, like, what are we doing and why do people gravitate towards it?
Fair enough.
I think that there's a very steady path in any industry, whatever it is. Financial advisor, you sit and suffer for the first 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, even 10 years, to end up building up a book of business, right? You just keep networking with people, you slowly bring on assets, you slowly sell some insurance policies. Like, that's the pathway to become a successful financial advisor. Why? Why does it have to be done that way? And I think what people really gravitate towards is that we're doing something that nobody else is doing. We're going at it a completely different way. And the fact that we're not taking that traditional path, that's what I think people gravitate towards the most.
1000%.
Because there is a path on how to do things the right way.
Yep.
But it takes a while, and it's always going to take a while.
But again, it's putting them in a box.
It's putting them in a box. This is the way to do it. This is how you should do it. Here's what you need to do, and you will be successful. Is there only one blueprint?
Yeah.
I mean, when you take a look at companies like Amazon, like Uber, like Google.
Guy was selling books, though.
Guy
was selling books.
Amazon, like Bezos was selling books, and now it's an empire.
Yeah.
And I think empire is doing it a disservice because it's even bigger than an empire.
Fair, yeah. One of the things that I think that I want to touch on here is why we went why we've kind of shifted our approach and gone the untraditional route. Because for me personally, I can think back to my very first day, my very first week, whenever it was at Bullfinch, right? And when I started hearing these things, I was so excited. I was the bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as I guess the coined term, right? I mean, all of us were, right? All of us showed up, and it was, we're going to conquer the world. We're going to make this amount of money. Wrong. No. Wrong. No. Right? And over time, as we started to get more and more into the business, all of a sudden, this idea of head trash starts to get in the way of success. It starts getting in the way of how you do things. And whether contrary to popular belief, whether it's helpful, whether we went the right way or not, you and I have always approached our business like entrepreneurs, not like financial advisors, right? And kind of the relevance here, tying in the multifaceted or multi-sport athletes to how it's correlated in the business world and whatever it is, I think that oftentimes people get away from what they're good at, right? All of us are born with this natural God-given gift, right? Some people it's speaking, some people it's strategy, some people it's being able to connect people or being socialites, whatever it may be. And I think oftentimes everyone's so in pursuit of the money side of things. They're all like, you know what? If I go into this profession or this career, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to make so much money. But in reality, they're putting themselves in a box that their natural God-given skill set doesn't take into account for, right? Where we've found so much success and why it's so different is, I'm a firm believer. I don't really care if you're an introvert and you don't like to talk to a single person. I still think you can be successful at anything. And the biggest reason being is because, dude, if you focus on the stuff you're good at and you don't try to be anybody else that you're not, the only thing that dictates success is work ethic. That is it. It's the only thing. So what we've done is we've said, okay, no matter what you're good at, no matter what your skill set is, no matter what industry you work on, what if we cultivated this environment where we helped everybody become the best version of themselves, focus on the things they're good at, and everyone else around you is cheering for you to succeed before anything else. Like in reality, what we actually created is an ecosystem where people can go take their skill set, they can take off the mask of them trying to pretend to be fucking anybody else they're not, right? And it's like, no, we're going to meet you where you are. We're going to take your skill set and we're going to turn you into a bazooka, right? And for those who don't know, Tommy is a bazooka builder. I wouldn't be anywhere close near where I am without him. But beside the point, conversation for a different day. What I'm getting at though, I want to know more about why did we build X Factor the way that we did? Like from your perspective, how has X Factor helped you as a business professional when you're walking through the dark times, the hard times, whatever it is, like, where we actually uncovered what it means? How has it helped you in your life?
You're going to need to re-ask that question because I got to throw a wrench and stay right where we were.
Far away.
You just made a point of an introvert that doesn't like talking to people.
Yeah.
That they can still be successful. What did you mean by that? Like that was almost an example right there of you putting, or society, you're just repeating what society says, that introverts and people who can't talk might not necessarily be able to have success. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Let me clarify. I think what I'm meaning by that is people, for example, would pick a client-facing job because there's more money that is quote unquote promised at the other side of the finish line.
Like a sales position, commission
whether
based,
it's financial advisor, whether it's a mortgage guy, real estate, any sales or commission based job, right, is typically always client facing.
Yep.
Right? You're interacting with people nonstop. So if an introvert puts himself inside of a box that requires some type of communication that's client facing, in theory, that introvert is not going to succeed unless they conform to what's asked of them.
Okay.
Fair?
Yep.
And what I'm saying is, we can take an introvert who doesn't like people.
Who doesn't like talking to people.
That's what I meant. Thank you.
I gotcha.
Who doesn't like talking to people, right? And still cultivate a way for them to be successful without doing so.
Powerful. How did you overcome failure? And for people that are listening, what is the step-by-step process on how to overcome failure?
I have failed more in my career than I think that a lot of people ever experience in their life. And I say that with pride. Like, I'm proud of that. And the reason being is because without failure, you can't learn, evolve, and refine yourself into the best version of yourself without it, right? So for me, when I first got started, I was this kid who thought I was going to conquer the world. I was, again, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and I was like, I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best that's ever done this. And at that moment in time, it truly was out of arrogance. It was out of a sense of, cockiness, or however you want to describe it. But I was humbled very quickly. In essence, I'm kind of going to fast forward here through the, how did I get through it? How did I get through it? Is Tommy asked me a question, and I still to this day think it's one of the most powerful things I've ever uncovered, is what's the biggest adversity I've ever faced? And most people are going to say a person, whether it was a traumatic experience or a death or whatever it may be. Other people are going to say it's an experience they had or a place they've been, experienced, visited, whatever it is. The biggest adversity that I've ever faced in my life is knowing that I'm capable of becoming my future self and knowing exactly what to do to become that person, but not knowing why I can't make the full leap of faith to actually do those things required to become that person. The weight of who I used to be dragging me down to the point where it's distracting me from who I'm becoming. And it's this dude, it is this hamster wheel of pressure, pain, and lack of direction. And to be quite frank, like, it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, this journey that we've been on has been the most powerful journey, but it's also been the most difficult that I've ever faced in my life. When I want to think about what's the reason why I got through failure, it's twofold. One is egotistical, and the expectation, like, I've told all these people that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z things, and I feel like I have to live up to it. But that goes out the window very, very, very fucking fast when you're not doing anything to prove it. And then it comes down to the people who rely on you. Like, you know the most important person in my life, obviously Jenny Rose, and how she's been a staple in all this. But when you're sitting there, like, I'll never forget this. I'll just tell a quick story. I got a picture of me sitting in my living room with Jenny Rose, and I'm sitting on the floor, tears are rolling down my face. I had my notebook in front of me, and I actually had no idea what to be doing at that point in time. The only thing that I was latching onto is I just needed to be doing something. And what was going on in my head at the time was this sense of helplessness, this sense of, like, I'm in the thick of it right now, and I don't see any light near the end of the tunnel. Like, that didn't even exist in my head at the point. It was more of, I'm not getting up from my seat, and I'm not walking away until I have a solution. And that was the day that I can genuinely look back on, where I was like, that was the moment where we coined this term, burn the boats. I didn't have any money to my name. I was putting a financial burden on the people around me like I've never done or experienced before, and I started to feel that pressure. Like, I needed something. I just needed this another piece of business here. I need something. And it was this blend between watching tears roll down Jenny Rose's face, watching tears roll down my face, knowing that I've spent X amount of time in the business and I'm not doing well, I'm about to fail out. But something inside of me the entire time refused to let me quit. Refused. No matter how many days, no matter how many hours, I'm not gonna lie to you, it wouldn't have mattered if it took me 24 hours to 48 hours to a fucking week, to be honest with you. I wasn't getting up until I found a solution. There's 0% chance I was getting up. I made the decision a long time ago. The only thing that'll keep me from being successful in any business, let alone this one, is if I'm not breathing. There is no other opportunity. There is no other outcome other than us succeeding. There's no other fucking outcome. I don't care how many calls I have to make. I don't care how many events we have to go to. I don't care if I have to do all the things that I hate me doing. There was 0% chance that I fail. None. And in the moment where I needed it most, to be honest with you, like my aha moment was when I got on my hands and knees and I was like, God, I've been away from you for a long time, dude. I have nowhere else to go. The materialistic things took over my life. I don't know what else to do. And that was the moment that genuine curiosity took over. And what I mean by that is just be genuinely curious about how you can help people in any situation. I don't care if you're helping somebody carry groceries up a staircase for an elderly couple. I don't care if you're holding a door. I don't care if I become somebody's financial advisor. I just knew one thing at that time. I need to shift my focus away from the dollar signs and start focusing on how I can help people. In that journey, it was a 6-month to 8-month journey that I experienced this evolution that I've never gone through in my life before, where everything almost seemed to be the darkest that it's ever been. And there was this, we call it the mindset shift, where that day I made a decision and I've never looked back since, and neither of you. I'm no longer going to start pursuing the dollar signs because that's not the thing that I had the opportunity to get at the time. But there is one thing I can control, and it's being a good person about how I can help people. And from that moment moving forward, dude, I put my head down. And I came to this conclusion. No one else is coming to fucking save you but you. No one. And as soon as I recognized that, you and I kind of turned the jets on and we got out of a massive hole. And that was the thing that essentially inspired us to share that same lesson, message, and journey that we've been on with other people.
You know what's pretty funny about that story is you said that you came in and you were going to be the absolute best. You're going to be the best. You knew that you were going to be the best at something. You thought that it was financial advising, but that was a box.
Yeah.
Financial advising, regardless, is a box.
Yeah.
Now, I would argue that you are very successful and you are the best at what you do, but that's because you've created your role. You've created what it is that you're doing. You've manipulated your circumstances, your environment, to put you in a position to be the best at what it is that you do.
And I'm so glad we're going down this path because now it's going to take us full circle to the very first conversation about habits, routine, and lifestyle, right? One of the things that I want to focus on that you said is environment. Again, and I hope that every college kid on earth gets to hear this, because let me tell you, one of the hardest transitions on earth is the 4 years that you spent in college and the festivities and activities, or whatever you want to call them, that you were doing. When you get tossed into an environment where the only thing that you can control is how hard you work, and that is it. That's what you're like we're not on salary. We don't do that, right? It's you eat what you kill kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So when everybody else is clocking out at 4:00 on a Friday, and we create our own schedules, we do all this kind of stuff. In the early days, it's like, oh, dude, Friday, I'll see you at the links in about 30 minutes. It's like 11:30 in the morning. It's like, dude, what are you doing, right? And we didn't know any different. It was like, oh, this is our chance to go network and build business. It's like, dude, we're sitting out there drinking beers with our buddies. It's like, what, you know what I mean? But as far as like shaping your environment, that's where I started to recognize where the real change came, right? Where was I spending my time on Friday nights? How late was I working? I didn't realize how little I was working in comparison to what we do now, quite literally until after the most recent event we just had. 18-hour days nonstop, 6 days a week, foot on the fucking throttle nonstop. And now I feel like we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't have a similar day to that. You know, kind of a tangent, but highlighting the fact of like shaping your environment, habits, routine, and all that stuff. I think it's a very important focus of like personal development is the thing that turns you into the person you need to become to thrive and succeed. It has nothing to do with the way that you're prospecting. It has nothing to do with the way that you're making calls. It doesn't matter how good your fucking strategies are. It doesn't matter about any of that stuff. When you start to focus inward, who you become and who you evolve into is the person that others want to give opportunity to. That's how you find success. Focus on you. Put all your work ethic and effort into becoming the best version of you and watch what happens.
So what have you done to become the best version of Griffin Clark to this day?
Well, number one, I'd find somebody that holds you accountable more than anybody else on earth. I think that you need to have somebody in your life who you allow to check you and you allow to make you better. Like, again, although like we're on the podcast together, like I openly admit this. I wouldn't be the person I am without the 1,000 battles you and I have gone through, without the 1,000 different things that you've made me better in doing. The old version of me would have been like, dude, why is he being nitpicky about this, this, and this? But the moment that I recognized, I think it was very early in our relationship or our career, that I came to this realization that you genuinely have my best intentions in mind, and I don't have to take everything you say and implement it right away and do this, do that, as we both know now.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, the moment that I started taking everything that you started saying to me, and I started shifting my perspective and focus that you were doing this to make me better, not to create a comparison, not to say that I'm doing worse or whatever it may be, a lot of things changed in my life, dude. A lot of things, right? Number one, most importantly, and I'll speak this and scream it to the mountaintops, my focus was away from God from a long time. And when I recentered that and I refocused on rekindling my faith, that was the very first decision that I made that started what we call now as a ripple effect. That was step one, and it led the momentum for the second domino to fall, and the third and the fourth and the fifth. And then when you start building these habits over time, and what we call stacking days, you stack enough days together, you pick your head up, it's 18 months later, and here we are.
Why is it so important? I mean, you went from accountability to God, and ultimately keeping God at the center of your life with everything it is that you're doing. Why is that so important to you?
Because it's the only thing that fills up my cup where nothing else that's worldly can. Like, let me ask you a question. Let's say it's just you on an island by yourself. Who do you go to?
God.
Why?
It's the only person I can.
Right. When you don't know any way out of a situation, where do you go?
God.
When you are sitting on the mountaintop of success, who are you giving thanks to?
God.
Okay. So you have good, bad, and indifferent all encompassed, and God's at the center of everything, correct? Now, the reason why I'm saying it this way, or I'm positioning it this way, is because why is he the center of everything we do? Because it's the only consistent thing in a life full of chaos. It is the only thing that is... it's the only thing that's consistent. It's the only thing that is like steady, constant, whatever it may be. It's the only thing you can latch onto. Like, dude, whether we have 1,000 phone calls a week or we have 5, it's never the same. Whether they last 5 minutes or an hour, it's never the same. My workouts, are they Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or all the way Monday through Friday? Sure. But am I going to miss a day? Yes. Am I on vacation these days? I'm on here. It's the only thing that you can latch onto. It's the only thing you can latch onto that, number one, fills your soul, is number one, right? And number two, it's the only thing that creates consistency. And in a life where you can't control very much, or let me rephrase it, in a life where you don't have the ability to control the things you don't control, it's the one thing that keeps you sane. It's the one thing that I know that what I'm doing and the path that I'm on is for a bigger purpose than me. And I'll put it to you this way. If God wasn't at the center, the Lamborghini would feel a little bit different when you get it. Being able to go get the watch, being able to go on these vacations, buy the next house, buy the next plane, whatever it is. All of these things would be about us. And in reality, the most gratifying thing in the fucking world is watching somebody else thrive, blessing somebody else, is watching them achieve their dreams, whatever it may be. And all of that stems down from exactly what God is all about. We're meant to be here so that we can provide and bless others, that we can do all these different things. And at the end of the day, dude, if that's your main focus, you can't sit here and look at me and tell me that if you become somebody for some, if you become someone that others look to as a place of stability, as a place of encouragement, as a place of happiness, joy, vivaciousness, you can't tell me that everyone on earth is not attracted to that. And it all stems out of one place, and it's God.
So with God at the center, the timeline that I just heard is that you're struggling in your business.
Yep.
Drop down to your hands and knees, pray to God,
Yeah.
brought him back into your life. Then a couple months later, the X Factor group was formed.
Yep.
Why was the X Factor group even formed?
Oh, dude. Tell the story.
Why?
All right. Have you heard the story before?
I don't know if
Oh,
actually heard.
dude, this is incredible. All right, so this goes back to in college. I was a semi like I just got out of the thick of the woods for the first business I started. It was mobile detailing, and fast forward, I started a growth and expansion consulting firm in college. And the reason I wanted to do that is, number one, I got bored. I was learning behind a computer screen. And number two is I was fascinated by this concept. So let's say that all three of us or all four of us or whoever is, let's say we're all having coffee at a coffee shop. And some person walks in. They don't say a single word. And every single one of us is instantly just drawn. They have this natural gravitas about them. We would all sit there and say, I don't know what it is, but that person's got it. So this entire idea of it, I was fascinated by. I wanted to define and monetize it for everyone. Everyone has their own God-given ability or gift or skill set, superpower, whatever you want to call it. And if you lean into that, if you refine it, you hone it, and you make it the best that it can be, all of a sudden, you've now defined what your superpower is and your skill set, and now you can figure out a way to monetize it. So it was called It Factor Consulting. Right? So fast forward, I get to the end of my senior year, and I'm like, you know what? There's something missing. There was a void inside of me at the time. I need to figure out how to do this on a bigger scale so I can help people. Right? I'm going to take the same skill set and apply it to financial advising. And Tommy and I hit it off first day. We met each other. And then as we came out of the gates flying at the very beginning of our career, we were like, oh, dude, I really like this idea of X Factor Capital. Right? It just, number one, I think it just sounds really great. Right?
It's got a great ring to it.
A phenomenal ring to it. And in essence, it was January 10th of 2024. And in January 10th of 2024, I had this, I call it a God wink moment. I call it a discernment, intuition, whatever it is. And I looked Tommy at the face and I was like, Fish, I don't know why I trust you the way that I trust you. I don't know why I love you the way that I love you. And I don't know why we're in business and pursuing all these things together. All I know is one thing, is that I want you to be my business partner forever. And on a piece of paper, January 10th, like two children, we signed on a literally like a notebook sheet of paper. It was I, Griffin Dale Clark, signed over 50% equity to Thomas Joseph Fisher of the X Factor Group. And by this point, dude, like the X Factor wasn't even the X Factor Group wasn't even a thing. I just had this inkling. It was on my chest. Like, It Factor should change to X Factor, and with X Factor Capital, all this stuff. So that was January 10th. So a little bit earlier in the conversation, we were talking about this idea where I got on my hands and knees and I started praying. And that was right around March. And matter of fact, Tommy was the one who truly helped me rekindle my faith and get all that stuff going again. So fast forward, it's now October, right? We got out of the hole. We're all fired up. Like, I don't know what is going to come of this. I don't know what's going on. I just know that I want to share a story. We have a lesson or a message to give people. And it was October 25th of 2024. And I get to the very last page of this devotion book. Essentially, it's like you spend 10, 15 minutes with God every morning. You do like a little journaling. I get to the very last page of this book, and X Factor is like clearly written on the page. The very last page of the book. And it says, the X Factor is the power and momentum of God working through and in us. Keep the small changes lead to big victories. Big victories over time lead to a fulfilled life as long as you keep God at the center. And so it was like this instant moment where I felt like I've actually had tangible proof that God exists. Then, literally the next day, I pick up the phone and I call Trip Russ. I got this book 3 days before I met Trip Russ in the first place back in 2017. I found this book in like an old suitcase. And so all of a sudden we fast forward and we're like, hey Trip, we have this event we want to put on. Would you come help us, share this message? Because Trip was a big part of the mentorship and all that stuff. So January 10th of 2025 rolls around. A year after that contract is signed. And Tommy and I looked at each other. We pushed all of our chips in the middle of the table, every last penny to our name in the middle of the table. And we said, you know what? I don't know what it is, but we have to have unwavering faith. There's unwavering faith and delusional belief that it's all for a reason. So sure enough, January 10th, 2025 was the first day we started planning for the event, which was a full year after that piece of paper meant nothing, right? And looking back on it now is I'm a firm believer that every single thing in life happens for a reason. And God gives you a choice. Which door do you open? And which path do you walk down? And at the end of the day, if you're obedient, nothing on earth is going to get in the way of your vision come to life.
Keep going with that story.
Oh, okay. So March 6th rolls around. I'm sorry. It's probably like March 3rd, 3 days before the event. Tommy and I look at each other, and for lack of a better term, excuse my French, but we have this oh shit moment. There's like 12 people on the list. We're like, okay, we just spent X amount of dollars. We got this nice venue. We got a speaker, got food and everything going, lanyards. Oh, it was amazing. With 12 people on the list. And we're like, okay. So, again, Tommy and I, every event we do a 3-day fast. 3-day spiritual fast. And so at the very end of that fast is coming up. We have 13 people on the list, and we just started praying. We're like, you know what? At the end of the day, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Like, we know it's all for a reason, and it's all going to come together. I kid you not, Matt. Within 36 to 72 hours, we had an influx of 100 people, one after the other. Boom, 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 boom. Just like one after the other. And we show up that night, and there was probably 115 to 135 people in the room. Matter of fact, you guys were part of that entire journey with us. Yeah. Hashtag shout out Ticketry. And so we get to that event, an amazing experience. Like, the energy in that room that night was hard to describe. Again, the only way that you can describe the X Factor is it's something you have to experience. So with a lack of any plan whatsoever, we execute this event, and we didn't have a single idea of what was going to come next. We didn't plan for after the event. We didn't have an idea of how we're going to capitalize on opportunity and how we're going to ride this momentum. It was more of like, so now what? And over the past 6 months, we built out the entire infrastructure of our business. And when I tell you it's morphed 1,000 times, it's been one of the most incredible journeys and experiences. We've gone through a temporary cap raise for a little while. We walked down that road for a bit. We put a pause on that because we had no idea what the fuck we were doing. But most importantly, what we uncovered in that moment is that what we're doing is bigger than ourselves. And so over the past 6 months, from March until September, we built out the entire infrastructure of the business, and we just continued doing what we're doing. And September 11th rolled around, and we had 247 guests on the RSVP list. We had about 260 people in the room, and that's when we launched the X Factor community and the X Factor group officially.
So, went from the X Factor group to the X Factor community. Now it's the official launch happened just a couple of weeks ago. What even is the X Factor community?
The X Factor community is a one-stop shop for purpose-driven professionals to grow personally, professionally, and financially in that order. Anything you need. We have personal resources we offer for personal development. We have professional resources we offer for professional development. And we offer community resources to cultivate and create these curated environments where people get to be around this like-minded, infectious energy like you've never experienced before. Right? It's the people who want to get out of a bed every day, and for lack of better terms, they want to get the fuck after it.
Griff, why is it important that we start with the personal side rather than the professional side first, like most places?
In reference to the order in which we help people develop.
Yep.
Personally, professionally, then financially.
Our goal
Yep.
is to help people become the best version of themselves, personally, professionally, and financially, in that order.
Yeah.
Why is it personal first?
Fulfillment.
What do you mean by that?
We have one objective, and it's kind of our tagline. Matter of fact, you actually created the tagline. We help others execute their vision so that they can fulfill their purpose, right? For example, you ever had some of those moments in life where it's literally just nothing but bliss? Typically, like, I have 2 or 3 when I was 15 probably. One, I was in a Jeep Wrangler 4-door in Maine. Tyler Niven, shout out, if he gets a chance to see it, it'd be fantastic. But I was driving his Jeep home, and I dropped him off at a training session or something like that, and I was on the way home, and I had the music absolutely cranked, right? And the only thing I thought in my head, I had my foot kicked out the side of the door on one of the pegs, no shirt on because I was a gangster at the time, and I'm driving down the road, I'm like, I don't think there could be another day on earth that gets better than this. And so from that moment forward, I started recognizing these different days. And every single time that I've had a day like this, it stems down to one thing, which is fulfillment. It's doing the things that fill up your cup. And yes, I'm getting to the point here. The reason why we do it personally, professionally, and financially is because oftentimes, do you think that people are currently doing the profession they really want to do?
No,
Why?
because it's driven by money. Whatever one's going to pay me the most, or wherever I have the most quote unquote upside potential that I can believe, that's where I'm going to go.
Exactly. So if everyone's on this relentless pursuit of money, right? You and I have had this staple now of asking the question, well, if money didn't exist, what would you wake up and do every day? And that's where they tell us exactly what they want to do. We've had real estate brokers tell us they want to be broadcasters. We've had mortgage guys say, no, I want to run like an adventure style retreat business. And the whole idea of why they don't do it is because of two things, mindset and money, right? The reason why we start with personally is because until somebody can recognize that themselves, until somebody goes through an experience where they start to pursue that feeling instead of the dollar signs, they'll never get it. They'll never experience it. The reason why we have to start personally is because the whole idea of what we're trying to do is cultivate an ecosystem where you can discover you. The version that you are now, is that the best, most complete version of you? Absolutely not, right? All of us have to be on this relentless pursuit to find the best version of ourselves, personally, professionally, and financially, because that is the only thing that'll ever lead you to a life that's worth living. Fulfillment, right? To give you a more direct, clear answer why we start personally is if you want to grow professionally, you have to become a person that others want to offer opportunity to in the professional setting. You have to refine your way of thinking. You have to refine your knowledge, your skill set, your knowledge base. When you focus on you as an individual, then step 2 is the new refined version of yourself. Then when you have an interaction with somebody else, then they can experience it too. For example, I can add a new sales skill, but I can still have greed at the center of my heart, right? If greed's still at the center of my heart, it doesn't matter how good my sales lines are. It doesn't matter how good my sales track is in business. I'm going to be capped at opportunity because everyone else can smell the commission breath. They can see truthfully what my intentions are. Versus if I go find out and I take a deeper dive into myself personally to discover why greed is at the center before anything else. Once I figure that out, then when I come out the other side, when greed is no longer at the center, then I can refine my skill set where genuine authenticity is the only thing that people are getting. That's where you see the enhancement professionally. But it has to start personally.
What would you say are like the 3 core beliefs within a right mindset?
Failure is a good thing. Courage in the midst of adversity is the only testament of character. And find your tribe. How you doing?
Help me understand that a little bit more. Help me understand. Let's break those down just a little bit.
You can't succeed without experiencing failure.
Why?
Because how do you know you're doing well or you're doing bad if you don't have an outcome to prove it? Right? If you fail, that's where you say, okay, I need to refine this, this, and this. And I have to, once you refine that, you find a solution. The next at-bat you get, it's this constant game of trial and error. You have to fail in order to get better. You have to, in every aspect of life.
And I'd argue that's one of the biggest problems that we see, if not the biggest problem, is that people look at failure as a setback. People look at failure as finished.
Uh-huh.
Where the mindset that we've developed is that, one, there is no failure.
Nope.
Because you either win or there's a lesson to be learned.
Yeah.
What is God trying to teach me in this moment right now, and how can I apply that moving forward?
Totally.
So I don't need to fail like I just did.
Yep.
Let's keep going. How about the second one?
Courage in the midst of adversity is the only testament of character. All right, here we go. Let's say that there is a... let's say that we're having a conversation. You say, hey, in the midst of a plane crash, what kind of person do you think you are? You think you're like a run and hide kind of guy? Are you a fight or flight kind of guy? Like, who do you think you are? The only thing that's going to prove exactly who you are is being in that scenario. We can have these ideas. We can have like, oh, I'm going to be this guy in this scenario, or I'd be this way in this scenario. The only way that you figure out exactly who you are is in moments where the only thing that tells you is your experience in it. That's the only thing. So I could sit here and tell you like, oh, dude, I'm not scared of failing. I'm not scared of rejection. I'm not scared of any of those things. But until you're facing it and looking at it straight in the face, the only thing that's going to be proof is how you act in that moment. And so the whole idea behind this courage in the face of adversity is the only testament of character, is that's where you find the real version of you. The one that doesn't flinch or fold, but you're not going to find it unless you go through scenarios or experiences that tell you exactly what it is.
I'd also say that brings up another point that's tied to it. You need to try out different experiences. You need to do different things in order to discover what is it that fills your cup. Because there's not just going to be one thing that fills your cup. There's going to be multiple different things. Yeah. Typically it's tied, I shouldn't say typically, it's always ended up tied to helping others or impacting others in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But how are you supposed to know what truly fills up your cup if you don't try out these different things?
Totally.
So, and again, this ties back to the community. If we can give people the opportunity to try and experience these different facets of life, whether it's learning professional skills or whether it's going out on personal retreats, cooking classes, boxing classes, like the great example is that I'm never going to go to a boxing class myself. I'm just never going to sign up. And for example, like running, I'm training for a half marathon.
Yeah.
Hate running alone. Hate running, period. Let's clarify that.
Yeah.
But running alone, doing something I hate alone, sucks.
Yeah.
But I know that it's good for me.
Okay.
Right? So if I can do it with the right people and go do a run club or do a boxing class with driven people, with the right people, the people that I'm looking to meet, maybe even some people that I can do business with, that's where the opportunities open up.
100%. Trying
new things with the right people.
Yeah, totally. Last one's find your tribe. I guess you might have just answered both of those together.
Kind of did too.
But I got a question for you. In your personal life, forget professional for a second. In your personal life, in the journey that we've been on, how is your experience shaped of who you're attracted to spending your time with now versus what it was in the past? Because like it's tied back to this idea of what fills up your cup, right? When you're in college, your buddies, the experiences, all that kind of stuff was tied, like that was the thing that filled up your cup, right? Now, what fills up your cup now?
I'm not going to answer your question directly.
Typical.
But it's, and I was just talking about this the other day. I was doing everything in high school and college that the average college and high school male was doing, and for some reason, I just didn't love it. Did I like it? Of course I did. Right? Going out, going to bars, drinking with the boys, watching football on Sundays, right? Doing the average teenage to 20-year-old male, right? Or 20s male. But as life continued to go on, and this is a part of my testimony that we're not going to get into today, though. But my soul wasn't being filled.
Yeah.
And over time, over the last 24, 30, 36 months, I've started to look back and identify like what really fills my cup. I love talking shop. Love it.
Oh yeah.
I am always going to go talk shop.
Well, let's clarify. What exactly is that? What does that mean?
Anything tied to business. If somebody, I don't know what it, like, I can't even narrow it down, but just talking shop, talking opportunities, problems that people might have.
Yep.
How can I solve the problems, or how can we help capitalize on an opportunity?
Yep.
What are your business ideas? What's a business that you want to go start?
Why haven't you started?
Like,
yeah.
What's a step that we can take to go start that business?
I'm gonna pause and throw a wrench right here for it. Why is it so important? Because I think that you've now led us down this idea of getting into recognizing or being cognizant of why things fill up your cup. Not the what, the why. Because I think that certain things that fill up people's cup could be bad habits. They could be, extracurriculars that don't make a lot of sense, right? Where they could be reallocating their time towards something that fills up their cup, but in a way that's productive and for the betterment of themselves, right? So my question to you is why exactly is that the thing that fills up your cup? Why is talking shop, why does that fill up your cup?
That's a great question. I'd say that because I have a growth mindset. I want to start shit. I want to build shit. I don't know what it is. That's just the way that I was bred. I love when people talk to me about business ideas, because whenever somebody is talking about a business idea, it gets them fired up. Anytime. hey, might want to do this, might want to do that. Like, that is awesome. It's also a vision that was coming from God. I truly, I fully believe that. I know you fully believe that. But oftentimes taking that first step is the hardest thing to do.
Yep.
And all they need to do is take that first step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And for me internally, it gets me fired up because they're at least dreaming. They're thinking of the possibilities of the life that they can have. They're escaping this box that everybody's been putting them into. When people are talking business ideas, like, they're not talking about, oh, I'm going to go get a job at State Street right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what they're talking about. Side hustles. They're talking about businesses. They're talking about empires that they want to build.
Yeah.
It's bringing out the creativity in them.
And I'm so glad we went down this path. And the biggest reason being is because of one thing in specific. I think one of the biggest highlights is sometimes in a moment, somebody can be making a decision, do I do it or do I not? And when Tommy Fisher is at the other end of the phone, there's only one answer. Dive in head first and don't ever look back. And more often times than not, knowing that you play that role in a lot of people's lives. I mean, think about all the people we've already had that experience with. We're obviously not going to talk about names, but think about that experience you've already given people who were like, you know what, you're right. And a week later, 2 weeks later, you see an LLC being formed. You see all these different things, and it's like, all right, what's next? What's next? What's next? You were a part of the foundation process that people are like, you know what? All I needed in that moment was somebody to speak life into me and tell me that I can do it too. And I think that that's one of the biggest key highlights to focus on is like, I think oftentimes the society that we live in is everyone else's first answer is like, that's not going to work because X, Y, and Z reasons. And in reality, there should be a group, hence the X Factor group, right? There should be a group of people who be like, you know what? That's crazy as shit and I love it. Let's do it. It's the people that are like, you know what? Nothing's impossible. Let's see what you're made of. I think that right there is something that you certainly should focus on or certainly like be highlighted here is you become that person for a lot of people. Where you become the source of inspiration. You become that beacon of hope where it's like, you know what? I'm going to do it too.
There is more to life.
Exactly.
And that's what fires me up about these ideas.
Incredible. Last question coming in from Matt. We'll wrap it up.
What's your biggest strength? What's your biggest weakness?
This is good.
To wrap it up.
Yep. My biggest weakness is when I know something should be done, when I know what the steps are, is not knowing why I still can't do it. Whether it's attaching a purpose to something like you've helped me uncover, but it's the execution on things that seem so minuscule, so trivial. It's a lack of execution and not knowing how to fix it. Like find the root essentially. Definitely the weakness. Strength, being able to see opportunities that no one else can identify or see without question. Being able to connect dots in ways that sometimes you even look at me sometimes like, how the fuck did you think of that? And again, it ties back. My biggest strength is a God-given ability. It's to be able to see visions and watch them come to life. That is the coolest part on earth.
I would say that my biggest weakness, not being able to help or fix more problems. When all I want to do is just fix the frickin' problem. I know what the answer is. I'm telling you the answer. But ultimately you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. That is my biggest weakness, is getting over the fact that I can't do it alone. I can't save everybody.
Yep. Biggest strength?
My biggest strength, I would say my biggest strength is meeting people where they're at.
Without question. What does that mean?
Doesn't matter where you are in life. Doesn't matter what you've been through. Doesn't matter what's going on. I have been blessed with empathy.
Yeah.
I got that from my mother. Just I can feel.
Yeah,
I can feel what's going on in people's lives. I can feel it when they're talking to them. It's funny because we had talked about this. It's being able to speak to the little part of God that's inside of people.
Yeah.
I think that's my ability.
You have a natural ability to find it in the first conversation.
To meet people where they're at. Doesn't matter if they're all the way up here or all the way down here. I'll find out, because I've been in both of those spots. I've been in everywhere in between.
Yeah.
So being able to meet people where they're at take a step up and reach a hand out to bring them up.
Absolutely incredible. And so as we wrap up here, obviously we're going to do a shameless plug for the X Factor group. Here's what I would say. We want to be your first phone call in a variety of scenarios. Here are the first couple. One, you got a problem you can't solve. You have an opportunity that you don't know how to capitalize on. You're about to fail. Come fail with us. Let us be your last resort. And lastly, if you've been looking for the one room of people that just fire you up nonstop, welcome to the X Factor community. Come give us a look.
Link in bio. Just all you have to do is go to the school app and register, and then fill out the questionnaire, follow the code. There's a guided series of prompts that's going to help introduce it, and then you'll be assigned to, or an X Factor ambassador will be assigned to you to help make sure that you can navigate and guide your way throughout the community.
She's met her a couple times.
And then what I also want to do, what's importantly, is what do you even get? What do you even get when you're inside the X Factor community? You get access to our X Factor Wednesday nights. Right now, they're currently being held at Urban Wild. If you're a non-member, then you have to pay $20 per event. So you get access to all our weekly networking events at Urban Wild during the summer. It's over at Granite Lakes. You get access to our X Factor calls, educational calls and mentorship calls. The educational calls is what are members currently doing to build up their books of business? Where are members experts in what areas, and what can I learn from them? For example, real estate investing 101, financial planning 101, development 101. And then also from the mentorship calls, you'll be able to hear, for this current quarter, we're having Trip Russ on his mindset. So we're going to be doing that once a month. And then we're also going to be having different successful CEOs and business owners that are telling their stories.
Don't forget about the pro athletes. Shout out to the pro athletes, dog.
The pro athletes coming soon. Just to share their stories. What did their story look like to success? Because I can promise you that it is not just the straight path that everybody thinks. There's ups and downs. There's peaks and valleys. So you're going to get to hear from some very, very experienced and successful business owners. And then there's another part of it. Our community is designed to give you all the tools, the resources, and ultimately the people that you need in order to build the life that you've always envisioned. So anything when it comes to personal resources, and this is what we're currently building right now, whether it's fitness, whether it's wellness, whether it's nutrition, whether it's diets, workout programs, whether it's just people to talk to and to go out and to do things with on those Friday nights, those Thursday nights, whatever that might be. For the professional resources, anybody that you need for you or your clients, we have access to them, or we're going to go find them for you. The goal is to be a one-stop shop for any of the needs that you possibly could need or that your client might need.
In a quick piggyback here is the X Factor Group is a business development firm. We create opportunities, solve problems, but we run our business like a family office. One-stop shop, any service you need, come see us.
I'd say that one of the biggest problems that we've found is that people are talking to different advisors left to right. And we have a personal financial planning background. So people are talking to their insurance advisor, they're talking to their investment advisor, they're talking to their mortgage lender, they're talking to their CPA, they're talking to their attorney. But none of these people actually communicate with each other.
It's not unified.
So we're the central hub. Why work individually with all these different relationships if you could have one team that's backing everything behind you?
Totally. Yeah. Love it. Well, as we wrap it up here, great first conversation.
Great.
Shout out to Matt Doherty at Ticketry. Best ticketing platform on earth. And be on the lookout. They're going to take over the world. Talk to you guys soon.